Right, guys, welcome to another solo session of Emilocan. It's been a while, but like I said, I'm gonna seek to be more consistent. This time around, we're gonna be looking at the Rook. This is like lesson 3 in the curriculum, lesson 2, lesson 3 in the curriculum. And we're going to be focusing on one of the most powerful pieces on the board in terms of versatility, capability, and utility. And that's the Rook. It's second only to the Queen. The Rook's worth 5 points, hence the corresponding number of pawns, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It has its name origin in Arabic, I believe it is, and Rook effectively means chariot. It may not be Arabic because when I'm thinking about it, I think Rook is spirit in Arabic, but it basically means chariot. That I do know. Etymologically, let's check it out. Let's go through it together. Oh, Persian, close enough. So you get the the line of thought, but I know that Rook in Arabic is spirit. Like Rook al Qudus is supposed to be the Holy Spirit in Arabic. Let's take off one of the I'm just going on a bit of a train of thought. That may be interesting, the annotations. Oh, Ruh. Okay, my bad. Because in Hebrew, Ruach is spirit. Okay, cool. So that's the line of thought that I was going along with. Cool. So yeah, effectively it's a chariot, and a chariot was one of the most powerful utilities of war in ancient civilizations. It was fast, it was driven by horses, it was it had defensive mechanisms about it. It was intimidating, it was fierce, and hence the Rook's mobility. It's kind of like a fortress. Even you go back to biblical times, Elijah and Elisha, and I believe it is Joash. They're related by the chariots and horsemen of Israel. When Elijah's taken up to heaven, he's taken up in a chariot of fire. And yeah, it's got offensive and defensive capabilities. So we'll start off. This is how we teach in CSC. It's basically the same rules as capture the flag, except this time around there's effectively no draws because the Rook can always move. I guess there could be a draw in the sense that there could be one pawn left and the Rook can just block the pawn's move. But the pawn doesn't have the black side doesn't have the ability to win by having the last legal move, I should say. The Rook can have the last legal move, but the black can never have the last legal move if it doesn't capture the rook or get to the other side. But yeah, let's play. So I'm going to move the rook from h1 to h7. As you can see, the black pawn moves from e1 to e4, e5 rather. I'm going to move that to the rook to e7 now, because we want to try and capture the pawns as soon as possible. Cool, so e7 to e3. Now I'm gonna go to this end of things. Game. So we've got two variants as well. So we have the variant where we teach how the pawns move, why the rook is worth 5 points. But we've also got a variant B, where we play with 2 rooks on either side and a complete set of pawns. So we can do that now. I think I'm going to kind of advance my pawns slowly but surely. Beautiful. Yep, capture that rook. So now we've got the advantage because it's missing 1 rook. This was pretty not too bad. Cool. And it's game over because black has no more legal moves. Let's go to some culture about the rook as well. So yeah, we can see that it's a major piece in chess, often represented as a castle tower with a value of 5 points. This is something that people mistake. They mistake the name rook for castle, when castling in actuality is a move that the rook can make. It's a type of move where the rook effectively switches places with the king. When neither pieces have moved, they switch sides with each other as a defensive move for the king. Yeah, it's effective in endgame as well. So like it says, it moves horizontally or vertically, straight lines across any number of squares. It can't jump over pieces. The knight is the only piece that can jump over. And it starts at A1 and H1 and A8 and H8. Yep. So yeah, let's just call it a day with that, and we'll upload that